Hello everyone, we're going to get cracking straight away this week with a very easy mixed media layout using minimal images so that we don't feel overwhelmed, using very basic techniques so that absolutely anybody can give it a try. So these are the images we use this week. I give them away free in my Facebook group. If you want to see the previous 6 weeks, there is a playlist linked in the description box below. You can see what it's all about. And if you watch those, I give hints and tips for beginner kind of mixed media layouts. So I'm not going to go on too long this week. We're going to get straight on and I'm going to share my layout with you. Hopefully it will inspire you to give it a try. So this week's, I've called it a stitching time. It's a sewing theme, kind of vintage in lilac-y tones. We've got 2 pages, we've got focal images, we've got some wordage and we've got a background page, and we're going to create a fantastic page with just these few images. So let's get started. We're starting off nice and easy. Anybody can stick bits of paper to another bit of paper. So here I'm just randomly ripping up some old dictionary page. You can use anything, book pages, absolutely anything you want. There's no right or wrong. And I'm going to mix and match that with the background sheet that is part of the freebie. Again, this is available in my Facebook group. The link is in the description box below, along with all the other weeks of freebies as well. So there's quite a collection there, so well worth a look. Go and have a look. So I'm just ripping up some of the parts that I want to use, and I'm going for some of the paler parts of this background page and omitting the kind of orangey tones. It's just not what I'm going for, but I'll use them in something else. They won't get wasted. So I've gone for some in squares and some in strips, and I'm using a matte medium to glue them down. And here I'm just showing you the 2 different kinds of matte medium I use. One is a Winsor & Newton, which is annoying because you've got to squeeze it out of a bottle. The other is a Galeria, which is easier to access. However, I do find that on darker colours, that one can make them run, whereas the Winsor & Newton never ever makes the ink on the papers run. I'm only using printed copier paper, so it's quite important. We don't want that ink to run. So you may have to try a couple of different kinds of matte medium until you find one that suits your needs. If you don't mind the inks running a little bit, I think it gives kind of a vintage grungy kind of look, but on this particular one I wanted crisp, clean lines, clean images kind of. So I chose my Winsor & Newton. I will still use the other, but I do need to bear in mind that it can affect the ink sometimes. So here I'm laying them down randomly, very randomly, and I'm using the matte medium to glue on the back. I've also put some on the page, and then I'm going to paint it over the top as well. Now you don't need heaps, thin layers. You don't want your page to be soggy. It will take forever to dry and it's a waste of medium. So I may look like I'm using a lot, but I'm using very thin layers. Okay, my page is not saturated, it's not soggy. And that's another way to make sure that the ink on the pages doesn't run, is to use your mediums sparingly, especially when you're doing multiple layers. Okay, so the medium will help glue the images down and it will seal them. So then, as I've said in previous videos, and probably if you're not new here, it'll sound repetitive, but whatever I then put over the top of those papers, I can wipe it off if I want. If I decide I don't like it, because I've sealed it, I can wipe them off and none of my papers are going to get ruined. Okay, so I'm drying in between. I've cut that bit out, but it is super important that you dry anything. You put anything wet on a mixed media project, you have to dry it in between, or else the things are going to react with each other and you're going to get a soggy mess. So here I'm adding some just plain gesso, and I'm using a palette knife just for something a bit different. I'm not sure if I'm keen on this method, but it kind of gives it quite a bit of texture. I usually just use a brush, and you can see me there going back in with the brush, because that is my preferred method, is to just dry brush it on. But I thought I'd try something different. Okay, and you get kind of like a more random kind of look if you use a palette knife. And also the gesso can dry uneven, giving you more texture, so that's a good thing. So now that's dry and I've dried it in between, I'm going to stamp on the top. I'm using an archival ink, which is super important. It's a permanent non water reactive, so it's waterproof. So if I decide to put sprays or paints on the top of there, that ink is not going to run. If you're going to use something like a distress ink, you don't want to use that until the very last layer, when you know nothing's going to go on top of it and it's not going to react. Don't use distress inks and then put matte medium or texture paste or gesso over the top. It will run. This archival ink will not run. So here I've just got a stamp set with some stitches, so I thought I'd put some stitches. It's a long, thin, bendy stamp. Put it flat on your desk and then add the block to the top. That's the best way to get it kind of straight. And I always do a test print on a page first. Now it can sometimes be difficult to stamp onto a watercolour paper, which is what I'm using, because it's kind of textured, so you have got to be quite firm, but you don't want to press so hard that you're squeezing the stamp and kind of smooshing the image, which is kind of what I did here. I pressed on a little bit too hard, but I'll rectify that later and bring the image in a bit sharper using a gel pen. I'll explain when we get to that part. So now I've got my fussy cut images. These are our focal points. So the background is just, it can be anything. It doesn't matter. No rhyme or reason to it. Just have fun. Get messy. Get your hands in there. Get your inks out and just have fun. Now I've decided that I need a little bit more gesso there, because that background for me is just a little bit too bold. And I want my focal point to be my focal points, not my background. So I'm toning that background down with just a little bit more gesso, and I think that's because I use the palette knife method. So I do prefer to use a brush, and I will either brush it on with a dry brush and just smoosh it about, or literally rub it in with my fingers as well. You get a lovely look when you do that. So here I'm using a glue stick and adding my images. The glue stick's brilliant. It won't make any of the ink run, and you know, it will keep those images in place. We're going to go over the top of them with the matte medium again, which will again seal them, stop the inks running and stop anything reacting with it. So I'm just deciding where I want, and I do kind of tend to cluster my things. So I don't spread them out over the page. I tend to cluster them, so it's like one big image almost, and that's just the look that I like. You can absolutely do what you want. Okay, I just like mine in a cluster, like it's a one cohesive image, if you like, but they're layered on top of each other, so it's adding interest, which is my favourite word. If you are new here, please do hit that subscribe button. I would be awfully grateful. There's all sorts going on this channel, absolutely heaps of videos on heaps of crafty things. I don't just do mixed media, we make journals, we do all sorts here. So there's lots and lots of inspiration. So hit the subscribe button and also hit the notification bell so that you'll get notifications when I upload, which is typically at least 3 times a week, unless I'm really, really busy with my digital work, and then I can go a bit kind of quiet. So there you can see I've layered over with the matte medium and dried it fuller before adding my modelling paste. So here I'm using a Winsor & Newton one. I kind of flip between different ones and different brands to see which one I like the best, and so far they're all much of a muchness. I've just found a difference with the matte medium, as I explained earlier, but with the modelling paste they're all much of a muchness. Some are thinner than others. You can make your own and there's no real right or wrong way to add it. Just be careful you don't move your stencil. Don't add too much, and when you're lifting your stencil off, I kind of peel it off, like how you'd peel the back off a sticker. You know, so that I'm doing it there, you can see me doing it there, kind of carefully peeling it away, so that I don't disturb any of the lovely shapes. Now I'm trying something different here this week, and I'm using some water-based markers. Now these happen to be the Stampin' Up ones, Many Marvellous markers. I've had these in my stash forever. Okay, so they're old. I don't care if I ruin the nibs. Don't use your expensive, most favourite, best watercolour pen, water-based pens for these. So it will tell you on the packet if your pens are alcohol inks, that means they're permanent, or if they're water-based inks, which means you can use them just like you can use watercolour paints. You can add the colour and then add water to it, and it will, it will react and it will run. So I'm using these pens like I'd use watercolour paints. Just don't actually add more colour onto the page when it's still wet like I tried to do here. It's not brilliant for your pens. It's not the best technique. I'm just impatient. And what you want to be doing really is, once you've added your colour, you're going to get a muted like wash, and you can see there I've dried it and then I'm going back in and adding more colour. That is the correct way to do it. And I'm literally scribbling in areas, and there you can see it's reacting straight away with the water. Now these are good because unlike watercolour pencils, they don't leave a scratchy mark. Well, these ones don't, and so they blend beautifully with the water and they will run lovely. And I just like a muted look so that the water runs down in between where the texture paste is, and I've just got a watercolour wash. Then I'm using the same pens, but I'm using the thin tip. So these have got a brush tip and what I call a bullet tip. So I'm using the skinny bullet tip, and I'm drawing around areas of my images where I imagine shadows might go. Okay, and then I'm going to go in with my brush again with some water on and blend it out, and the ink will react with the water and it will blend out, giving me a kind of a watercolour kind of shadow around the images. Now this does take some practice doing this kind of shading, and I will say I think I'm getting better at it. I'm happier and happier every time. Every day is a school day, even for me, and I craft every day. I've crafted every day of my life for about 10 years non-stop, and every day is still a school day for me. I don't know everything. And the best way to learn things is by playing, and art journaling is the best way to play. Express your creativity and have fun. So you can see me there. If you want it a bit darker, you add more ink. If you want it lighter, you add more water. It doesn't get any easier than that. And if I decided I didn't like it or would put too much on, because I've added the matte medium, I can go in quickly with my finger or with a wet cloth and wipe it off and start again. It doesn't matter, and you can build up your layers. Start off light and build up. Dry, dry, dry. So important to dry in between, so that you've got lovely, lovely crisp layers. When you're happy with the look, get that heat gun on it. That will set it. Okay, and then I've gone in with it's a Sakura, I don't know if I've spelt that right, jelly roll pen, and it's like a glittery one. I've had it in my collection for years, and I'm adding it to the flowers, and then because I've got the matte medium there, I can kind of smoosh it out with my finger. It just gives a bit more of a subtle and more cohesive glittery look than using what's the word for it, stickles. And it's a finer glitter, and when I'm adding it to that sewing tub there on that metal rim, it makes that rim look super metallic. It's a really lovely effect. So get your gel pens out, get your glittery gel pens out and have a play with them. You'd be surprised what you've got in your collection. So here I'm looking for a white gel pen that works, to try and add some white highlights to my flowers to make them stand out a little bit. And again, you can just smoosh it with your finger as well. So yeah, just adding some highlights to the image and to the clock there, and then I will smoosh it with my finger, and it will look blended, and it will look like it's literally part of the image rather than that I've added it. Then here I'm just adding some white dots on the stitches there that I've stamped, just to make that stamped image look a little bit more crisp, because I kind of pressed down too hard and it went a bit smoosher. So by adding these little dots, I'm just re-emphasising it again so it stands out on the page again, and it actually looks really, really nice. I'm really pleased with it. So you've got your watercolour, your water-based inked pens, you've got your modelling paste on there, stamps and ink, your collage. This is mixed media. You're mixing different things. Okay, so now I'm just adding my sentiment. It's the final touch. I love them, and I'm going to ink around rather than having to draw around my images or add shading with, you know, whatever watercolours or whatever. I'm actually going to ink the sentiments with an archival ink. Again, it's waterproof, it won't run, and that is going to make my sentiments stand out without having to do anything else, so that I can add them on top of my modelling paste. Because if I'm going to put them there and then start trying to draw around them, that's going to be problematic because I've got a lot of texture under there. So inking them first, then gluing them down, solves that problem for me. And I just use my regular ink, my regular paper crafting ink for this. I couldn't quite decide where to put them, but I decided they needed to be near the clock, seeing as it says a stitching time. And it kind of like helps fill out that space. Don't forget, you don't have to fill every single inch of that page. You can have blank spaces, that is absolutely fine. I think my style is that I like to fill the page. It's never enough. And then here I'm adding some splatters. At the moment, my preferred thing for splatters is calligraphy ink. I love it. It's lovely and bold. I'm practicing my splatters first to make sure that the brush that I'm using is going to give me good results, and that just adds a finishing touch to my page. Okay, so that's my finished page. I hope you enjoyed the process. I hope you picked up some hints and tips. Don't forget, you can totally and utterly copy my formation of where I've put things, or do your own thing. It's absolutely up to you. But I'm really pleased with how my art journal is coming along. And I don't know about anybody else, but this challenge is really helping me. Just enjoy the process, build on my confidence. I don't care whether anybody else likes it. I do care, you better like it, or else I'll cry. No, but in seriousness, it's about letting yourself go. Don't care what anybody else thinks, and just really enjoy playing with your supplies and creating a unique page to you. There's nothing more satisfying. Doesn't matter if it doesn't belong in the Tate gallery. It's your artwork, and we are week by week building up a fantastic collection. And I do think, I'm not going to don't hold me to it, but I do think we will carry on going whilst ever I've filled my journal up. And then who knows, we might start a new one. Thanks for watching, take care, and I'll see you soon. Bye for now.